Our thoughts, they can take us to so many places. Our
Mhm,
thoughts can take us to a place of having low self-worth, not feeling worthy, not validating who we are. Or it can take us to a place of loving who we are,
mhm,
validating the things we need, and making ourselves a priority.
mhm.
Have any of those questions ever popped up to you? Have any thoughts brought you to spaces of feeling really great about yourself or diving down and not feeling so worthy? I am Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, and my guest today is Beverly, and we're going to be talking about our thoughts and how they really do affect our overall wellness, our overall mindset. So, welcome, Beverly. Thank you for your time and being here for this conversation.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this conversation, and hopefully, I'll be able to just jump in and definitely give you my take on, how our thoughts and, our wellness and our thoughts go hand in hand. So,
Yeah,
yes, I'm excited to be here.
yeah, definitely. When I, saw what your messages are, I was like, okay,
Mhm,
Beverly is on that same wavelength, that same
mhm.
journey of valuing who we are and our thoughts and our mindsets. Like, yeah, Beverly, you got to be on this podcast. So I want to thank you so much. So
Thank
Beverly,
you.
I know who you are. I know where you're from. So can you
Mhm.
please share with the audience today, where are you from and a little bit about yourself?
Sure, sure. So I am from San Diego, California, born and raised. The weather is beautiful today,
Of course.
and and I'm also a wife and a mother of two. I have a 14-year-old and 11-year-old, and I'm also owner of True Sentiments. We do products and services that promote mindfulness with the cultural flavor. So we are aligned, definitely in this conversation. And yeah, like I said, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned that our messages are aligned. So with
Yes.
those messages, there's
Mhm,
always a value to what we're talking about and how we want other women. I'm going to say women because that's, who we
mhm,
really understand
mhm.
that underlying message. What is that you really feel more women out there need to hear around the world?
I really was thinking about this, and what I always come back to is that I know enough to help someone. Because when I am in spaces or having conversations such as this or in any type of environment, and you start to second guess yourself, you start to feel a little bit of unworthiness, just those thoughts. And so I always try to circle back and say, I know enough to help someone. My journey is my journey. And so one of the things that really resonated with me and how I came up with this was a few years ago. I heard it and someone said, and it really did click about, a first grader is able to help a kindergartner because they've done it, and there's levels to this. So if you, whatever your journey is, enough to help the person that's
Mhm.
that's not at that level yet, and there's stages to it. So yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, definitely. I love how you mentioned there's stages, right? Because it's
Yeah.
so true. And I look at stages as these tiny baby steps, right? And there's
Mhm,
days where we've climbed like the ladder to the highest point, but
mhm,
then maybe something we heard, or maybe we just have one of
mhm.
those days and we're not feeling worthy of ourselves that we end up taking steps down again.
Yes,
And I always say, Beverly, and I, from what I gather too, you feel the same way that it is
it is.
a journey of wellness, a journey
Mhm,
of different thoughts that we may be hearing.
mhm,
And what are your thoughts on this? That something I always talk about, Beverly, is that these whispers, these
mhm,
words in the back of our minds can often be our critic, right? Our self
mhm,
critic.
mhm,
And I find that when we allow ourselves to hear it, it doesn't
mhm,
become as strong. And when we allow ourselves to hear that whisper, that self critic, that negativity, we can
mhm.
double up with then words of kindness, words of love, words of what is unique about myself. So again, using those words that we are so great at giving other people, but
Mhm.
instead using it for yourself. Like, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts on, those whispers, those negative thoughts?
Yeah, so I always call it my internal chatter. So
Uh,
it's like I'm having these
Yeah.
conversations. And it's and really like I really tried to work towards this because years ago, and some people may even understand it like when we're having conversations, and instead of listening and being engaged in the conversation, I was thinking of how to respond instead of being in the conversation and engaging. And so I've really tried to make it a point to kind of slow down the internal chatter
Mm,
and say, okay, is that really true? Why am I feeling this way?
yeah.
Okay, this 9 times out of 10, it's just because it may be fear, it may be just a little discomfort. And then I'm having these conversations in my mind. I'm like, okay, just slow it down.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So, from what I'm hearing is it's so valid. It's just to simply be in the moment, focus
Mhm,
on the moment. The fears may be there, but to
mhm,
simply focus on the moment, be in the moment, be present.
mhm.
And then that whoa, right,
Yeah,
is not so loud anymore. And
exactly.
as it doesn't take you on that path of going away from
Yeah.
valuing who you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And part of that is self-care, right?
Mhm,
And taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, nobody can do it for
mhm,
you except yourself.
mhm,
So, Beverly, I'd love to know what's something you do yourself for your self-care
mhm.
that allows you, that gives you permission to make it part of your daily routines.
Oh, definitely. So I truly believe in self-care. I think if we are not full, we can't show up for others. So
Yeah.
I have a self-care routine that is intentional. I'm intentional with it and I'm consistent. And it's like there's levels to this as well. So you have to really find something that you love doing.
Yeah.
So I start out my day because kids and husband, I'm like, okay, so I get up at 5:30. So because I don't want distractions, so I've learned that I have to get up a little bit earlier
Yeah.
in order to really integrate that into my day. And so yeah, so I'll wake up, I'll throw on my workout clothes because I'm going to work out afterwards, and I'll pray, meditate, journal, do that for about an hour, and then go work out.
Mhm.
And I noticed that it does give me the ability to handle a lot of challenges, struggles, life, that's just a
Yeah.
part of life, but
Yeah.
I'm able to be more proactive than reactive. And I'm able to strategically move through whatever it is a little bit more with clarity than to just feel like I'm just chasing fires all day.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I love that, right? The fact that you have realized from your own personal experiences that you need and you deserve to give yourself this 1 hour before all the chaos begins
Mhm,
to focus on nobody else but yourself. And when you
mhm,
give yourself permission to take that hour,
mhm.
then things start to shift your mindset. You
Yes.
realize the value you're giving yourself. And not only that, but giving yourself what you need, like moving your
Mhm.
body, exercise, having that
Right.
quiet time to refocus, to meditate, to
Right.
enjoy your tea or whatever your beverage is, to
Right.
journal, to gratitude without the distractions. I love that. And, I'm going to ask you this too, is, you mentioned, because I'm in a space too where I have no issues getting up early, but there's people out there like, you got to be crazy.
I know.
So, how can you heighten the fact that I know we talked about, why you get up early?
Yeah.
Did it take you long to do that?
Well, I'm naturally a morning person.
Okay.
So, so it's not as difficult because I don't even drink coffee. So
Yeah, I don't either. It's tea for me.
yeah, me too. So I'm naturally a morning person, but what I can say is that it's really, like I said, what you love to do. So
Mm,
I grew into loving journaling, and I'm a meditation teacher and practitioner, so I love to do that. I love prayer and just getting grounded in the morning. So I really do think that it's just important to find that thing, and it doesn't have to be all these things that I have, but one
Yeah.
thing, and just start there, that you love doing, whether it's
Yes.
journaling or even just going out for a walk or
Yeah.
whatever that is for you. Just make sure that you just create that time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do believe that self-care is throughout your day.
Mhm.
And for me, it's just a way of just jump starting my day, but it's really throughout the whole entire day that I really do incorporate self-care by saying yes to things, no to things that don't serve me, and then realizing even at the end of the day that I need to just shut down at 9:30 so that I can get up the next day and do it all over again and feel energized and not wake up like I
Yeah.
do need a cup of coffee. So
I love that, right? It's your jump start. It's like a
yeah,
car battery, right? When it's drained, you need the cables to jump start it again. And I
right.
love that. And I think that ties really nicely into, my next question was going to be what motivates you to get up in the
Hmm.
morning. And I mean, you've
Hmm.
shared it, right? The fact that it helps you jumpstart your day. It helps you
Yes.
give that me time, that hour before, to do the things you love, to do the things that uplift you, to
Right.
do the things to honor yourself,
Hmm.
right? And give time to
Hmm.
yourself. And I love the fact that it's so, on dot when we say, find a time that works for you.
Right.
Because, like yourself, it's the morning, Beverly. Myself, it's the morning too. However, sometimes that doesn't happen. Life happens. But you're right. Find a time, be flexible, right? And do
Hmm.
not get yourself upset, or that negativity starts again, right? If your
Right.
intention was to do something in the morning, but for whatever reason didn't work out,
Hmm.
still set that intention, but be
Hmm.
flexible with it and say, okay, you know what, then tonight I'll go for a walk, or I'll take 5 minutes right now just to
Hmm. Right.
relax, lower the stress, breathe, bring
Yes.
down my heart rate. And you're so true. It's these little things that we do that ends up affecting us in more transitional ways that we even
Hmm.
realize, right? I mean, and
Right.
when you talk with other people, they say the day went by and they didn't even do anything for themselves. They wonder why they're so stressed and feeling awful
Right.
about themselves and going down this road they don't want to be. But it's like you and
Hmm.
I just talked about, make sure self-care is part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth, right? Like putting on fresh
Hmm.
underwear every
Hmm.
day,
Right.
right? Like, make it a part of your day. And it's okay if it's a little bit different,
Yeah.
but find something that works for you,
Hmm.
that you enjoy,
Right.
because then you are going to stick with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
love
I
it, love it.
totally.
Now, in this craziness, you mentioned your day can be really crazy,
Uh-huh.
and it can be, life can be crazy, and along
Yeah.
that we face challenges, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you're open to sharing with our
Hmm.
listeners today a
Yeah.
personal challenge that you're going through.
Oh, definitely. So, a personal challenge for me is trusting the process.
Mm,
And what I
nice.
mean by that, and that could be, applied to pretty much everything that we do.
Okay.
I am a planner by nature, so I like to have, step one, two, three, four, because I already have my eyes on the destination.
Ah,
But I'm learning to trust the process in terms of the steps and being flexible, like we talked about earlier with
yeah.
our self care routine, and just knowing that I'm taking one step after the other. I'll eventually get to the destination. I may need to pivot, whatever
Yeah.
that is, it's okay. It's okay if I pivot. It doesn't necessarily have to be so cut and dry in terms of getting to that destination and to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know that I am so fixated on the destination that I don't take the time, or I'm not mindful enough in terms of just being in the process, because in the process, there's growth, there's, experience, all these great things. And I don't want to miss that. So I really am challenged with trusting the process and reminding myself that I'll get there.
Yeah, right. It's whether there's bumps along the road,
Yes.
that is life, right? And
Right.
I think that really ties in really nice with what we talked about at the beginning, our thoughts, right? And how
Mhm.
important they are for wellness. So
Yes.
what I'm hearing is validating doing things for
Mhm.
yourself, because
Mhm.
then that serves you with kinder words. And
Yes.
what I mean by that, by kinder words, is when you start taking care of yourself, you
Mhm.
start feeling uplifted, and it's
Yes.
like, wow, I did this for myself and this really feels good, right? So your thoughts,
Mhm.
your words are now more in a self-loving, positive way,
Right.
and realizing that flexibility is important,
Yes.
because then you're giving yourself permission versus, oh, I didn't get this done, and now what?
Mhm.
And then those negative thoughts start, right?
Yes.
And
Right.
to find a space for yourself to do things that you love,
Mhm.
whether it's moving your body, whether it's stretching, whether it's journaling, whether it's going outside, but something for
Mhm.
yourself that uplifts you, because that fills your body, your soul, your mind with love. And through
Mhm.
love comes what else? Gratitude
Yes.
and self-worthiness, and realizing that I'm not this useless mom, I'm this wonderful mom, because I'm
Right.
teaching my kids how to
Right.
value myself, how to make important time for myself, how it's important to choose something you do that overall affects you in a very positive way, right? You end up having this kind of glow about you. I mean, I've heard people say, like, there's this glow about you, right?
Mhm.
And well, yeah, it all works together, right? and
It
and
does.
with those thoughts too, Beverly, I always say
Mhm.
that by doing that, you end up having this growth of gratitude
Mhm.
in you. And with this growth of gratitude, things that potentially could have seemed like the worst devastational thing end up
Mhm.
not being that bad. And I mean, there's different levels of
Mhm.
things, but those words of, oh, I'm not doing this for myself, changes to, I'm doing this for myself, and it feels
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
And that good raises the endorphins,
Yeah.
raises, I look in the mirror and now I love myself, versus, okay,
Mhm.
what am I going to nitpick at today? Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. And there's what brings me to some last questions here that I have for you. So we learned some really beautiful messages, Beverly, that you shared with us, and about the importance of waking up early or finding time throughout the day, and
Mhm.
realizing that we all have obstacles, but that is a part of life. And when you're
Right.
flexible, you're able to move beyond these obstacles. You find a way around, versus
Mhm.
getting stuck and not, like, I'm stuck here, I don't know how to move on, right? Well, we could go
Right.
around, or we could climb
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
So that brings me to quotes.
Okay.
We all have quotes that we tend to really validate and love, right?
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
what is a quote, Beverly, that you really make a part of your life?
That is a good question. And one quote that I can think of that I really have been meditating on is a quote by Deepak Chopra, which it really resonated with me. And I have to say, okay, so it says, accept uncertainty and step into the field of infinite possibilities. And what spoke to me when I saw him talking about this is life is uncertain. That's what we know for certain, is life is
Yeah,
uncertain.
it
That's
is.
all we can claim.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when we're able to understand that, I know that I'm able to be more flexible. I have a better understanding too that instead of having a negative connotation to it, when we think of uncertainty, that thinks, we start to think of struggle and challenges.
Yeah.
But I try to reframe that and think of it as, like he says, like infinite possibilities, things that allow us to open up and to experience life and to be a part of it and to engage with it instead of looking at it as, the cup half empty. I'm looking at it as the cup half full and embracing uncertainty, because we all know that life is uncertain, because I don't even know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now.
No, exactly, right? It's so
And
true,
so,
right?
right,
Yeah, it's so true, right? There's some people out there that they're just left lost when things don't go the way it is. I mean, we
right,
cannot determine what's going to happen for an hour from now or 5 minutes from now,
right.
yet alone the future. I mean, there's goals we can set and realize that it's these little baby steps we need to take to get to the
Mhm,
goal. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen today. That goal doesn't
mhm.
mean it's going to happen tomorrow. It doesn't mean it's going to happen next week. We have to
Right.
allow ourselves that flexibility. I say, as
Mhm.
long as you're making a point of validating who you are, taking
Yes.
those baby steps you need to take every day with allowance for flexibility,
Mhm,
and the choice to love who you are and celebrate you're taking those baby steps, then
mhm.
you are going to get there. We all have, how do I say, we're all put on this earth for a reason. Sometimes
Right,
it takes a long time before you realize it.
right,
And sometimes like, oh, why did that happen? I know there's a reason, right? And it's
right.
opening yourself up for that. Yeah.
Exactly. I
So that's a
agree.
really, really good quote, because it really makes you open your eyes, right, to the
Right, right.
possibilities that are out there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm,
exactly,
mhm.
exactly. Advice, you shared some wonderful, really valid advice today with our listeners or audience. But is there perhaps something else that you didn't touch on, piece of advice that you can share?
Yes, I was thinking about this, and what I'm learning too is not only to, when you're embracing the uncertainties, also do it afraid.
Hmm.
I know that when I have conversations with people, or there's opportunities that are presented, my default is no, because I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be, I don't know, you start having this internal chatter going on.
Yeah.
And so I have these three things that I always check in, a checklist before I say a definite no. And so
Nice.
my three things are, one, is it going to cause any hurt, harm, or danger? 9 times out of 10, probably not, 99.9% of the time. And then the other one is, does it align with my purpose? Do I feel
Nice.
connected to
Yeah.
it? Does it make me say, does it pique my interest?
Yeah.
If that's a yes, okay, that's good. And then the last one is, will it help someone? I really do think that we are connected, and that is something that really is a part of who we are,
Yeah.
that connectedness and helping others. And so I check in with myself with those three things. And if it's like, okay, the first one, no, it's not dangerous. The second one, okay, I'm connected to it. Oh, yeah, and if it helps others, that's even better.
Yeah.
And then I'll say yes. And then I'll explore it a little bit more and see what is it, and to get more into the details to
Yeah.
determine if it's something I want to do. But, my default is like, nope. And
Well,
I'm working on, okay,
yeah.
that's fear. That's probably fear.
Yeah.
Just, stepping in. And is that really my reality? Probably not.
Yeah. No, I love that, right? Because so many people, they hear something and they react right away with no.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I love number two, where you say, does it align with me? Like, I like to call that gut feeling, that
Yes.
intuition, right?
Right.
Because I always say it serves us, it never fails us. Right?
That's
And when
beautiful.
we begin to listen to that intuition, that feeling, that
Hmm.
gut feeling, when we listen to it, I know from personal standpoint, it's never not served me, right? It's when I
Mm-hmm.
fail to listen to it or I second guess it.
Yes.
It's like, darn, why didn't I listen to my gut feeling, right?
Yeah.
It happens with everybody. So I loved how you said, does it align, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then going to that third point, it's true. I always say that, what's the worst could happen? They say no. It's like ask, right? And does it
Mm-hmm.
align with me? What's the opportunity? Why not? I'll check it. I'll investigate it further. If after
Mm-hmm.
I've checked it out, it was like, yeah, this feels good. This looks good. Let's go for it. If that third time's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, that's
Yeah.
not. But yeah, I really feel strongly, your second point, what you said about how does it feel? How does it make
Mm-hmm.
me feel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because
Because
that's definitely something that I think, like you said, it's that gut feeling. That's that our inner person
yeah,
who comes alive with these, in these
yeah,
things. And they don't know any. The inner person doesn't know anything about fear, and
no,
so they like it. But it's this that internal chatter and kind of our
yeah,
experiences sometimes too
yeah,
that kind of hold us back. And so,
exactly.
yeah, I really do listen to that gut check. It's
Yeah,
just like, okay, did I feel like a little, oh,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so important. Or do you have two, Beverly, kind of, going with that something pops up, right? Whether it be in
Mhm,
your, wherever, let's say email, something pops up
mhm.
and you look at it, it's like, no, but then other things is like, yeah, you know what? Why not? I'm going to check
Right.
it out and I'm just going to reach out, see what
Yep.
happens, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never
And
know.
every time that I've done that, great things have happened,
Yeah.
great experience, great connections, all these wonderful things. And so, life is happening. It's just up to us to kind of engage with it
Yeah.
and step into it and participate.
Yeah. Yeah. So true, right? Going back to our wellness and our thoughts, right? What are your
Right.
thoughts? What are your feelings? What are your intuition? How does it serve you? I'll say in a positive capacity, right? Does it
Mhm,
serve you to bring around negative feelings? Then no, say goodbye, right?
mhm, mhm.
It doesn't
Right.
matter how good it sounds. If you're just not feeling good about this and your guess is like, I don't like how this is making me feeling, then
Mhm,
don't even bother because that's always going to be in there. And then what's going to happen? This vicious circle of negativity in your thoughts
mhm,
again. Why did I do this? Why didn't I listen to my gut? Right? All these,
mhm,
right?
mhm. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Now, Beverly, you're a mom, you're a wife, so you cannot include family as your answer for this
Okay.
question. So, Beverly, if this was
Mhm.
the last day of your life,
Uh-huh.
what is one thing that you would be grateful for?
Mm, that's a good one. And yeah, as a wife and a mom, that's the default, right? Family,
Our
right?
default, it's just a part of us, right? And
We
we
don't think
always
of
want to say, my
ourselves.
family, of course, right?
Yes, our default is always thinking of others, as moms and wives. But I think breathing.
Mm,
Breathing is something that I'm grateful for because we tend to take it for granted because that's how we live. you know,
yeah, so
that's how we live. That's
true.
how, we wake up in the morning and it's just something that is just happening without us even forcing it to happen.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
with that breath of life, I mean, that's where the magic happens. That's when we're
Yeah.
waking up and we're able to take on the world in terms of showing up and engaging and being our full selves and our authentic selves. And so breath is so nourishing. And especially with my meditation practice, I'm always like just breathing, and I have these conversations on how we fail to breathe a
Yeah.
lot of times. Like we
Yeah.
breathe but it's shallow, it's
Yeah.
not these deep
Exactly.
breaths that we need
Yeah.
to take into our body that really helps to oxygenate our cells. And so I just think that breathing is something that's just so important that we need to really be mindful of in terms of that. And so, yeah, that's what I'm grateful for. The breath of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. You know what? It's so true, right? There's times where you get so caught up in your busyness that
Hmm.
all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's why I'm feeling like overwhelmed and I'm like this, right? So taking
Hmm.
those moments, like you said, catching your breath, just to, okay, stop what you're doing. And I do this myself. I just kind of like, I'm going to quick stop, look outside or close my eyes and it's just Lower the
Yes.
shoulders, take
Mhm.
those deep inhales, hold it for a few seconds and release it. And you do that
Yes.
3 times. And boy, it is like, yeah,
It's
okay,
a
this
game
feels,
changer.
it's a game
It's a
changer. Yeah.
game
It's like, okay, this feels good, right? And I've even done it like when I feel that when you've become very in tune to your breath and you become
Mhm.
very in tune to how your body reacts to stress and you're very in tune to your internal soul, it
Yes.
doesn't matter where you are, the situation, all of a sudden you go into this deep breath
Mhm.
without even people realizing, if I'm,
Mhm.
let's say, I have two teenage kids, like 19 and 16, right? So they can be like days like, oh my God. So I'll just kind of, okay, I need to catch my breath here because I can
Yes.
feel myself.
Yeah, start to like wait.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. And yeah, I mean, if we're somewhere and it's just really like people are busy, and I
Mhm.
believe you feel like this too, you're intuitive, so you can feel their
Yes.
crazy energy, so I just
Yes.
kind of put this bubble around myself and catch my own
Yes.
breath, right?
I
And
do. I
yeah, when
do.
you have that breath work and it
Mhm.
starts to be implemented into your life, you
Mhm.
end up turning to it when you need it because you realize how your breath serves
Mhm.
you in a very nurturing way, not
Yes.
only for your mind, but for your soul and your overall
Mhm.
well being,
Right.
and then your overall thoughts.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree. Just like I was just thinking about like driving
Yeah.
and just someone might cut you off or whatever, and it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
just breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true,
Or
right?
yeah,
It's,
because I'm like, breathing is my tool in my toolbox. Like
yeah.
I know, like if I just take a moment,
Yeah.
okay, now I can engage.
Yeah,
You
it's true,
know?
right? And it ends up affecting you in a different way. So if I can get a prime example, this weekend I had to drive somewhere and I put the
Mhm.
location, but didn't exactly, was my fault too. It happens. Yeah, okay, this is the place, but didn't look the city. So I
Uh-huh.
drove an hour and ended up being the
Oh.
wrong place. I was like, oh
Oh no.
God. So I could, I was like, oh, I got angry. It's like, okay, no, catch my breath. Just breathe here while I sit in this parking lot. Okay, Google
Mhm.
Maps, take me to this place. And so then I had to drive an hour the other way, and
Oh
in
man.
traffic, and it was berserk. And it was like, okay, well, again, it's like, okay, I'm getting closer. I could be really flustered and angry, but it's like, nope. And we, it made it safe there. And that was the main
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, that can happen to us, right? It's like, okay,
Right.
I can stay like
Yeah,
this and get flustered. But then if I'm driving, I could get in an accident if I stay like that,
exactly.
right? And get
Exactly.
road rage and a
Exact-
traffic jam, and I'm not moving. But okay, I'm stuck in traffic jam. So I'm just going to catch my breath again to keep
yeah,
calm,
exactly.
to not
Because
have, yeah,
it's kind of like sometimes things that a lot of times it's things that's outside of our control
it,
anyway.
yes, yeah.
And so it's kind of like, okay, we can make choices. We have the choice to either allow it to let us kind of unravel,
Yeah,
or we can choose to breathe through it. Okay,
yeah,
yes, it happened. Can't do anything about it. Let's think of how we can move forward. you
yeah.
know?
So true, right? It's under control. So whatever. I typed it in
Yeah,
wrong. Whatever. It happens, right? Poop
right.
happens or shit happens.
It happens. It happens.
Exactly.
Uncertainty, right? Embracing that uncertainty. What can
So
you do?
so true, right? Beverly, as we go on in life, people give us advice, right? Some of
Mhm.
it is really great. Some of it is like, yeah, okay, I'll take it with 2 cents or whatever. But what is, one piece of advice someone has given you, and it seems to be the
Mm.
best piece of advice that you've heard?
That's a good one.
Mm.
I think one of them is to be okay with being you.
Yeah.
Um, it's We can tend to overanalyze like ourselves, what we say, what
Yeah.
we do,
Mhm.
and knowing that we are created, we're here for a reason. We all have our own experiences. And like I circle back before what I said about, I know enough to help someone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop trying to compare myself. I'm going to
Mm,
stop trying to overanalyze
yeah.
things, and know that I am who I am. Based on my experiences, I'm open to opportunities, and I'm going to show up in all of my authenticity. And whoever is for me is for me. And that's all I need to know. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So true. Right.
And not
And
not try to like, yeah, think of,
yeah. Yeah.
all the negativity.
And I think that, kind of tying that into who can I serve? How about
Mm-hmm.
I can serve myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Right.
can give that energy, not all the way, but I can
Mm-hmm.
give that energy to myself as well,
Mm-hmm.
to serve
Yeah.
myself for what I need,
Yes.
and allow those thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that may be negative to realize I'm human. And those thoughts can serve me in a way of validating who I am,
Mm-hmm.
or they can serve me in a way of constantly second guessing myself and
Mm-hmm.
constantly not liking who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are your thoughts going to help you shift your mindset, right? You can go on constantly every day hearing that critic, or you can realize that you're better than that critic
Mm-hmm.
talks or whispers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I do every day when I look in the mirror, and again, this is through a daily practice, it didn't happen overnight, but
Mm-hmm.
through a daily practice, I wake up, we all look in the mirror, but I then give myself a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but when I look in the mirror, I smile right away. I
Mm-hmm.
smile right away, because you know what that smile does, right? It uplifts you. It's kind of like, when someone else smiles at you, it's just automatically it's like, I
Yeah,
felt
it's
good to smile
contagious.
back, right?
Right.
Why not? And that's why, it's a ritual that I began. I smile when I look in the mirror first thing in the morning. And then these good thoughts, these good intentions, this good vibe begins, and that
Mm-hmm.
fills my soul with love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, Beverly, be flexible, honor who you are, and definitely breathe. Remember to
Yeah.
breathe, catch your breath, and do something for yourself every day.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Beverly, for your wise words, your beautiful words. And I love how, you share in the similar and same beliefs
Mm-hmm.
about our mindset and
Mm-hmm.
honoring who we are, doing something for ourselves, no matter how busy or chaotic you can have your
Yeah.
day go. You still
Yeah.
need to serve yourself.
You do. You do. You definitely do. So you can be a, show up for others, because if you don't fill that gas tank up, you know,
Yeah.
you're not going to be available and open to uncertainty, infinite possibilities, your loved
Yep.
ones, so it's definitely, I think it's very vital to have a self-care routine and to
Yeah.
just be able to take that time out for yourself.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, everyone here and listening, thank you very much for being part of another Mindful Conversation podcast. I'm Tanya Otterstein-Liehs, your self-care mindset coach. If you like what you heard, go ahead, subscribe, comment below. I always love hearing what you have to say, your thoughts on this conversation. And before you go to bed, as you close your eyes, lie there, think about the best thing that happened. And when you wake up in the morning, either write it down or feel things you're grateful for. Have a beautiful day. Love who you are. And like Beverly and I say, remember to breathe. Have a good night, everyone. Bye bye.